everybody. Yes, it's another beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. And you know what? We are still going to be neighbors. I'm excited about it. My guest today, y'all, honey, he's an activist. Now, y'all, so I don't want nobody to get upset because, honey, this man's going to say what he got to say and he's going to talk about it and we're going to sit and enjoy it and listen and chime in and do all that. Because I ain't no activist, honey, but I mean, I guess I could be one today then because I'm Dr. Zackory. He's going to definitely, honey, or Dr. Zackory is going to definitely, honey, tell us today about what's really going on in the world because we need to know. We need to know. You know, we had a big election the other day, and honey, we need to know what's going on and what we should look forward to in the near future. So, without ado, ladies, put your hands together. Shall I say, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Zackory Kirk.
Gary, I'm Zackory. It is Zackory.
Well, they got an old baby, so now how that's done?
You know what? My mother had me very young. She was 17, so it's phonetically spelled. So in the way that phonics works, and giving a shout out to her, to my mom who transitioned from life to everlasting life a year ago on Monday. It is old Jesus. It's something to celebrate. We celebrate a life, we celebrate a legacy, and I celebrate that name because she
yes, Lord, yes. Well, I'm glad you correct that, honey, because I was going to try to spell it. So it's Dr. Zackory Kirk. So, Dr. Kirk, where you from?
I am a Mississippi native, my friend. And
look at Jesus. Which part?
I'm a Mississippi native. And while we're talking about hot topics and we're talking about points of activism, I want to send out my prayers to the people of Jackson, Mississippi, where 7 churches were set on fire on Monday night, pre-election day. Yes, sir. 7 churches were burned in Jackson, Mississippi. Some people are calling this an act of arson. Hopefully it was simply the act of some random arsonist, but it, to me, harkens back to the civil rights era when church burnings was an act of domestic terrorism to stop Black people from voting. So it's something that has that sits deep in my heart, and I'm praying for the people of my native state.
My Lord, honey. I mean, and yes, we definitely, that hadn't been that long ago, honey, when that was happening back in the day, quote unquote, and now it's doing it again. My Jesus, it's nothing. I was just suffering from having water. Now they burning down churches. Lord, Jesus ain't going to add water to put the churches out. But my God.
Exactly. That's something that, I think that may have been a part of the strategy because they are still having a water shortage there.
Really? And, I do radio in Jackson, Mississippi. I love Jackson, Mississippi. And I didn't know that, so I got to talk to my colleagues. They didn't mention that to me. So, but anyway, Dr. Kirk, so it's nice to have you. I've never really had a real life activist, honey, on the show. So, honey, you're gonna be the first one, honey, to put us out and let us know, honey, all what's going on in this activism. That a word?
Yeah, we can make it a word, Gary. That's the strength, right? That's what you do. With Kahlua of the day and all the things that make you who you are, I want to say, I'm you and your whole audience, I appreciate you. I love what you do. I've been following you since the moment you hit the airwaves in Atlanta, and you do great work. So, my friend, you can make up all the words you want to make up.
Well, thank you, Dr. Zackory. All right, so, honey, okay, since we, this topic or whatever. Now, recently, there was you had the election. So we're gonna talk about some hard stuff. Then we'll get lighter, maybe later. Depends on how the time go. But the election, my pastor,
Gary. I go hard the whole conversation. So you ain't gotta we can go hard, no problem.
Yeah, I don't know how, but anyway. So Dr. Zackory. So the election, honey. Dr. Pastor Warnock, which is my pastor. I'm a member of Ebenezer, and the wonderful, what's his name?
The one
Herschel Walker.
Yeah. Oh, Herschel. Yeah.
Yeah, Herschel Walker. Okay, now it's gonna be a runoff, I gather, because that's what I've been hearing lately. But my thing is that I promise you, I couldn't sleep last night, and I'm not into politics like that. I know about it or whatever, but I couldn't sleep. I was so worried. I'm like, Lord Jesus, don't let Herschel Walker be a senator, honey. But thank God thus far that he's not one, honey. So so what's your take on this whole situation, honey? And then we lost Stacey Abrams. She done lost for the second time. But like people are saying, she's definitely going to get a job doing something, but it might not, be to help the people like she was helping the people, So what do you take on that?
You know what, my friend? I'm going to say, first and foremost, in regarding Leader Abrams is the job. Stacey Abrams has created more jobs for people in the state of Georgia and throughout the United States with her nonprofit work, Fair Fight Georgia and One Georgia and the New Voter Project than I can even imagine, right? So she is the job. This is in no way a setback for Leader Abrams. And I call her Leader Abrams because she was a minority leader of the Georgia House when she was serving in that role, serving in our state legislature. And I always want to make sure that I give our Black women the titles they've earned because so often people in our society want to take those titles away by mispronouncing Vice President Kamala Harris's name and not wanting to give this former leader of the House the respect she deserves. So Leader Abrams is going to be fine. Leader Abrams did not need the job of governor of Georgia for her benefit. The people of Georgia needed her in that seat for our benefit. This woman is a millionaire based upon the merits of her work. She is well degreed, she is well educated, and she is well prepared for wherever God is going to elevate her to next. I believe sincerely in my heart that Leader Abrams will continue to be in service to the people of Georgia and will continue to do the work of Georgia. But not only will she be in service, she's motivated a whole entire generation of young people to continue that work for her. Just in the same way that former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton wasn't able to crack that glass ceiling and make history for the people of the United States. Leader Abrams wasn't able to crack that glass ceiling and make history for the people of Georgia. But that ceiling is certainly, more open. And it's going to one day, a Black woman will be there. One day, a Black woman will sit in that seat, and it will be because of the path that Leader Abrams laid. She's going to be fine.
So, I mean, so you think she should be bitter? Because I'm feeling a little damn bitter. What's the problem? Why she didn't win? Did people not go out and vote? They were saying people went out and voted, honey. I mean, they had millions of people voting this time. So what was the problem?
Early voter turnout initially said there were 2.4 million early voters. We now know there was more about 2.2 that actually had their ballots that were accepted for whatever reason that means. I'm still trying to, get data that will come in about that. People voted. Black early voter turnout was very strong.
Yeah.
We were typically running about 32 to 34%, but day of turnout shifted those numbers. And Black voter turnout in the state of Georgia was lower than what we would have hoped for. We now know that it was about 28%, and we always need that Black voter turnout to be 30% or higher of registered Black voters in the state of Georgia. We were able to hit that with in 2020. We were able to far exceed that with the 2020 runoff election that gave us Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff, but we didn't hit that. So turnout wasn't as strong as we wanted, but it was still very strong, very robust, but not as high as we wanted. She didn't lose, and I want to say this publicly because Black men didn't vote for her. That is not.
I was waiting on that because we had on the show, and she said that Black men were turning out.
I can tell you, yes, we from exit polls. It seems to be that 84% of Black men polled voted for Stacey Abrams and Raphael Warnock. Now, we won't know those actual demographics until later in the week, but we should know them by Friday from the Georgia Secretary of State's office. But Black men, as always, came out in support of this Black woman. What hurt the State Leader Abrams the most, I'll tell you, it was two demographic groups. And the first one were our Hispanic, Latino, non-white voters. They were at about 55%, and typically that voter block is a little bit higher for Democratic candidates. And so I give credit and kudos to the Republican Party of Georgia and the National Republican Party led by Ronna Campbell, because they put money into creating office spaces in Gwinnett County where a number of those voters live to go out, canvass, and work those communities. Also, the second group that really did not come through for Leader Abrams was white women. Only about 20 white women. So we saw a lot of white women up in arms over the repeal of Roe v. Wade who were fighting and talking that they were going to stand with the candidate who was going to advocate for their right to bodily autonomy. But when it came down to going to the polls, to the election, but it seems as though they did not come out strong for Leader Abrams. According to the exit polls, they were about 28%. And that's way lower than what it would have needed to be to have a strong chance for Leader Abrams to get that seat.
Well, what brought about that? I thought more white women was all fighting for abortion rights and everything than anybody else, and they're not turning out.
They did not. They turned out and they voted, but they voted for Brian Kemp. They did not vote for the Abrams, and so that is something that I think the Democratic Party of Georgia needs to do more work around. What it comes down to, I believe, is that a number of our voters in Georgia were significantly misled around the economy and the inflation issues. That is what I think needs to be the talking points going forward for Senator Warnock and his campaign. He is going to have to really emphasize how the work that he's done in the Senate under the guidance of the Biden administration has actually benefited our economy and not hurt it. Yep, inflation is a real thing, but inflation in the United States is lower than what it is in other countries. If President Biden and Senate Democrats are the reason for inflation, then why do you have inflation in England? Why do we have inflation in France? Why do we have record inflation in Italy? This is not a Biden issue. That he didn't cause this. He is suffering from the results of international policies that have ripple effects, many of which were exacerbated by the former president, Donald J. Trump. And those are the things that Senator Warnock will have to hit home and really focus on to help really change the hearts and minds of Georgia voters so that they will vote for him in this runoff on December the 6th instead of the Republican opponent.
I hope he do some changing, whatever. They got to do something because, honey, Herschel Walker, Lord Jesus. Anyway, just a mess. Let's just put it like that. I mean, so my thing is, so I gathered the young people voted because I saw what's his name, 2 Chainz, honey, was out, honey, with Stacey Adams, what have you. I think I even saw you out there somewhere as well too, honey. Politics.
I was everywhere I could be, Gary. Everywhere that she went that I could be, I was there. And that's something I'm glad you said that, right? Stacey was with 2 Chainz. Stacey was with 21 Savage. Stacey was with Lizzo. Stacey was with Lotto. Stacey brought Coming to Atlanta. Stacey brought Oprah. Stacey was with President Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah.
Stacey put in the work with the Black people that many candidates would have never went to. How many political candidates have you seen go to a Lotto and said, let me partner with you? Or go to a 2 Chainz at Escobar in Castleberry Hill on Peter Street and say, let me partner with you. The work she did it's unmatched.
Yeah.
It didn't get the results we wanted.
I was just about to say, honey, you had all these people and everybody got a check, and hell, these people still won. And I guess they feel like, we ain't had to do all that. Y'all got to do all this to get y'all damn lazy ass Black people out to vote, and they still don't come vote. Oh, that's what they say. So, but Black people, we know voted.
Gary, it was $61 per vote earned. The amount of money that was spent by this campaign was massive. It was. But that's what it takes to get an incumbent out of office. And it just, unfortunately, didn't fall in our favor.
All right. Well, all right. Well, honey, moving on to other stuff. Now, I was on your Instagram, and I noticed that you were out at the it was a ball, the Black ball for the gay pride, or was it gay pride situation? I didn't understand it. So what happened? Did somebody spray something? These girls was macing people?
There was a situation where a contender was walking in a house ball and was chopped by Atlanta resident Benny Watson, who is the owner of Sovereign Suites, a nice little restaurant, brings in a number of celebrity clientele. And he was a judge. He chopped a contestant, a contender, we'll say. And that contender got upset, came out and brought mace.
All right,
and put an end to that Black Pride ball.
All right, bitch. That's how you do it, honey. Oh, well, baby, honey. They shouldn't have messed with that girl, honey. So you mess with him, honey. That's what happens.
We could get him out here. Maybe he can do some spraying for Stacey and Warner.
Huh? Nah.
Maybe it would have cleared the room and made a difference. But oh well, we'll see.
Exactly.
I mean now, so he could do it for me.
Yes. All right. So, Dr. Kirk, so what else been going on, honey, with Dr. Kirk? Now, I know, like I said, you've been out there, honey. You're an activist, honey. You're doing a lot of things in the community. So, how did you start doing this, first of all?
You know what? This is something that I've actually been doing my entire life, and I constantly think back to it. And it really goes down to being like, I mentioned my mom at the very beginning of the discussion, and it really goes back to how I was raised. I was raised to be someone who stood up for other people. I'm a big brother. I was born first. I'm the eldest of three. And so, with that, I was always taught you protect your sisters. But that goes out to anyone who needs protection, anyone who needs help. And that's kind of where it all starts. And it also goes into being able to use the talents and the ability that God has given me. God has given every single one of us gifts and strengths and abilities that we need to use in service to the world that we live in. And so if I'm able to fight, if I'm able to advocate, if I'm able to raise my voice, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's why I do what I do. And I do that right now primarily on social media. I do that on Instagram, on my Instagram, the Zactivist. I do a lot of it on TikTok with my TikTok Zactivist. And I do that on YouTube as well on my YouTube platform, 3+1 Media. So that work is ongoing and it never stops. And I do all that I can to fight for the causes that I believe in.
Yeah. So do you have, so do you, this is what you do. So is this your 9 to 500 or do you teach kids or what have you?
This is my 24/7, right? Activism is my 24/7, but it most certainly does not pay the bills. So, in terms of my bill, I'm an educator. I'm an educator who now works in the private sector for an educational tech company.
Oh, really? Well, that's good. So you like that?
I do love my job. I love the job. But I will say to anyone out there who is an educator, the best job I ever had, and I've been in this for 20 years, and I've had 6 different promotional positions. The best of all the jobs I ever had was absolutely being a classroom teacher. I taught high school English for 9 years in Henry County, Georgia, and at the exact same school, Eagles Landing High School. And that was, for me, the best job I've ever had.
Really?
It paid the bills, barely, but it paid the bills, but it was exceptionally rewarding. Those were the best years of my life.
So, Dr. Kirk, you're not one of those type of teachers, honey, where you're like a radical, honey, and teaching those kids, honey, to be pro whatever.
I don't think there is such a teacher out there. Because again, in order to be a teacher, you train for this. You don't just hop. Now I think you can just hop in if you live in Florida because Ron DeSantis has made it where anybody who's willing to carry a gun can be in a classroom. Yeah. But for me, as a teacher, you would never give your you won't even, I don't even talk about my personal beliefs with my children. The focus of a good teacher is that kids know how to think through situations that come to their beliefs. And it doesn't matter what those beliefs are, right? It's their right to have it. You want them just to be able to think critically, to be able to absorb information, gather information, and use the information to make informed decisions so that they can live a choice-filled life. That's the real purpose of education.
Yeah, and that's true. I guess if we had a teacher like you when I was coming up, honey, I probably would be a radical too. But I'll probably
I'm sure you have plenty of great teachers. Because you wouldn't be where you are today if you did not have a number of great teachers that poured something good into you.
Oh, yes, most definitely. But I don't remember. Who was it? Yeah, I had plenty of them. But anyway, so Dr. Kirk, tell me this now. On another note, on like an entertainment note deal. So, it's being rumored that what's his name? Nick Cannon. Now they're saying that he's standing up for Kyrie Irving. Now I don't know if you know the backstory. Kyrie Irving was saying things about the Jews and stuff and all that. And saying now, speaking of that too, before I go for it, tell me, so are the Jewish people the only people that you can't talk about? No. Or you get attacked, or you get squashed, or you get throw you out of society?
No. We shouldn't talk about any marginalized group in a disparaging way, right? Like this, we should be in an ideal world, a no place for hate. And you should not be able to make anti-Semitic slurs and make anti-Semitic Semitic statements. You should be able to make anti-Black statements. You should not be able to make anti-gay statements, and you should be able to make anti-trans statements. The issue here is that we have an entire movement that's existed for a very long time against the Jewish community that is now being perpetrated by Black people, because the benefit of that is that it divides minority groups. This is something that so many people like Kyrie Irving and Kanye West and Nick Cannon and every other anti-Semitic Black person fails to understand. The civil rights movement was financed by many of our Jewish brothers and sisters. There is power in the enemy to have these groups fight among themselves. When Jewish people and Black people are fighting, when Black and brown people are fighting, when Muslims and Black Christians are fighting, when Black men and Black women are fighting, when Black straight people and Black gay people are fighting. You have constant division, and we are not united against a common enemy of white supremacy. Because ultimately, all of the groups that I named, every religious minority, every ethnic minority, and every gender minority in this country all suffer from the same issue and the same problem. That problem is white supremacy. And anytime that we are sitting here arguing among ourselves as minority groups, we are doing the work of the white supremacists.
My Lord. Yeah, well, I just hope, honey, they get it together, Chocolate. We know Kyrie needs his job, and I'm sure he's got a bunch of kids out there because he is a basketball player, and that's usually part of the curriculum.
I do agree with you on that. Kyrie has a bunch of kids here and there, some born, maybe some digested, but they're out there.
Digested. But anyway, yeah, that's it. That's, you know, it's really interesting. And I'm just like, I don't understand. I'm like, Kanye, you just came off of the apology tour. I mean, Nick. So just kind of calm down and stuff. But the way you broke it down, that was very interesting, you know. And I'm sure people, honey, that's watching knows that, you know, and just like, well, bless his spirit, honey. But
well, hopefully they'll at least think about it, right? Because there's so much I won't say misinformation. I'll call it disinformation, where they're trying to constantly flood Black media markets, Black Twitter, Black sites, Black comment sections, to make us act a certain way. We just heard Vladimir Putin say that he was involved in American elections and he wasn't going to stop. We know that money from Russia and foreign entities flood into a number of social media websites to have a certain type of influence. One piece of that is keeping the Black community divided from other groups. So I'm hopeful that even if they don't agree with me, they will at least think about what I'm saying and do a little bit of research on their own.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Brittney Grimes?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I really am praying for Brittney Griner and her family. I'm really hopeful that she is going to be released. I'm disappointed that she is still there, but I really regret that she was in Russia at a time when all Americans were told to get out of Russia. That really, really, you know, you can't go back in time. You can't undo the decision. It is what it is, but I don't think that we're going to be getting her liberated anytime soon.
No, honey.
I think essentially Brittney Griner is a prisoner of war.
Yes, that's what we were talking about today, and they transferred this girl, honey, to another prison or what have you. But I think they should at least let her do a PSA about telling people, honey, don't carry no goddamn vapors or whatever it is they use.
Don't go. We as Americans, you cannot go anywhere you want to go. You cannot go to a foreign country that is an enemy of the United States or an adversary, if you don't want to use the word enemy, and think that you're going to have rights or privileges. At any foreign country, we can be arrested at any given time. Our rights end the moment we leave America. We have rights in America, but we don't have rights other places. And that's something that people don't necessarily think about because they think that we live in a world where we can do whatever we want to. It's not the case. You could get arrested in France, Germany, any country because you're not a citizen and you are owed no due process.
And not upon that, especially being an African in America, that was number one strike, first of all. And number two, they say, honey, but she really needs the money because they say in America, they're not paying money. So she had to go out there and work for her and her wife. So now, honey, she won't be coming back no time soon, look like. But it's a very sad situation, though. I just like, somebody should have said something, but it is what it is now, so.
But Garrett, here's the thing. Who could have said anything? There's only one person who could have stopped that, and that was Brittney from not going. I hate to say that, but there is nothing that anyone in America could have done to get her back. Once she was there and arrested, right at the start of the Ukraine invasion, there was no hope that could be given. There's nothing, and the Biden administration has tried to offer leverage. They tried to give prisoners that we have over to them. Russia is saying, no, we're not accepting the offer. There's nothing that we can do.
Isn't that a mess?
It is sad. It's sad.
Yes, it is sad, honey. Then, she got a wife, honey. Hopefully her wife stand by her side and don't divorce her, honey. Wait for somebody else to come along. I don't know. But
I'm praying for that as well. But if that happens, I'm praying that they both continue a journey of peace post divorce.
Mm. And with that being said, Dr. Kirk, you're such a optimistic person.
Because here, did you wait?
Huh?
Did you wait?
I'm sure if I would have to remember the last thing we did and I would operate off of that, yeah, I probably would touch myself or something, and just think about it. But I don't know. It's kind of hard, Dr. Kirk. I don't know. Yeah. No, I wouldn't wait, damn it.
There you go. There you go, Gary.
I couldn't wait because I'd be like, oh, Lord, 8 long years, honey, Lord have mercy. But, when I think about that, though, Dr. Kirk, this is what I think about. Look at Coretta Scott King. Dr. King was dead for 100 years almost, and she didn't never, as we know, she never got involved with another man.
She never remarried. I think that we can see some evidence that there may have been a long-term partner there.
Well, he ain't reared his head then.
He did, because because they stuck to old school rules about keeping the bedroom in the bedroom.
Yes, right. And before we get out, I want to talk about that too. What you think about that? I mean, we're in a new society now. Everybody tells every damn thing they do, put it all out there, honey, on the flagpole. Nobody cares, honey. You ain't knowing shit who I've been with. You ain't knowing nobody who I've been with. Because the people that I've been with don't talk. So,
Gary, you're right. I tried to find out the tea on Gary with the tea, and I got not one single drop. So you are telling the full truth about that.
Yes, you ain't gonna find out nothing about me because like I said, the people I've been with are not talking. Now, right now, I haven't been touched, honey, in like 3 or 4 months. But no months. I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, no, Dr. Kirk. Years, because after I went through my cancer
battle. I don't think it's been months, let alone years. But if you say it, Gary,
no, it's been years. Because after I went through my cancer situation, whatever like that, honey, I'm no longer able to do all the stuff that I used to do. But I do have a nipple tweaker to come over and do that. But that's as far as it goes. And that's great. You would be surprised, what that does and how it really makes you feel. So, but that's that. But anyway, Dr. Kirk, honey, I am so glad you stopped by, and you're going to do this again. We have to definitely do this again.
Anytime, especially if there's any political issues or social issues or justice issues out there that you want to have discussed and you want to have explored or explained, I am always here, my friend. I'm a fan. I support you. I love your work. I thank you for being in the city of Atlanta. I thank you for the value that you add to our city. And I thank you for the doors that you've opened for people that don't even know you opened the door for them.
Well, I appreciate it, Dr. Kirk. That was nice, kind words, honey. Definitely. I have to take you out for a soda or something.
Well, you know what? You can take me out for a soda anytime that you want to. And
you live here in the country, here in Black Atlanta?
I live in Black Atlanta. I certainly do. I live right off 20.
20. Oh, that's
Gresham Road.
Oh, you live over there because I live downtown. But nevertheless, we both have cars.
Yeah, it's literally 6 miles from downtown. I am 6 miles from the state capitol.
Oh, okay, groovy. That's not too far from me. Then I have to talk to Leslie, and we'll have to work that out. So I have to meet Dr. Kirk in person, honey.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
Well, thank you. Well, Dr. Kirk, thanks again. And how can the people reach you? If somebody wanted to reach Dr. Kirk, how could they reach you?
They could find me very easily on Instagram, and it is the Zactivist on IG, and that's Zactivist. You can also reach me on TikTok at Zactivist. Just drop the D, and that's Zactivist. You can also reach me on YouTube at 3+1 Media. And also email me any given time at founder@ZackoryKirk.com. And that's my website, ZackoryKirk.com. It's just my name, ended with a .com. So anytime, and I'm always available to educate and to really fight for the causes that we all believe in.
Well, I appreciate it because, I felt today we kind of went light. But next time, honey, and then too, we talked about the latest. So, but if you definitely want to go in, honey, and just let us know all what we need to know, and we're going to talk. So
it sounds good, my friend.
Well, Dr. Kirk, thank you so much. You have a great day and a better tomorrow, and we'll talk again.
All right. Thank you so much, my friend.
Bye-bye. All right, y'all. That was Dr. Zackory Kirk. Great interview, honey. And it was a pleasure meeting him. So we're definitely going to have to talk to Dr. Kirk again sooner than later. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. You all are so beautiful. And you remember, honey, if you like what you heard, just click here. And if you like what you heard again, click here. So just keep clicking because you're going to love what you hear. All right, so I want y'all to have a great day and a better tomorrow, and we'll do this again on next time. Thank you for tuning in. Feliz Navidad.